Yo, what's up, guys? This is the L7C, bringing you another Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel. We're just gonna hop in, wait for an opponent, and see what we get today. We're already readied up. And we get an opponent, and we're like, okay, let's get it going, man. Click start, click paper. We get the thing, we pick to go first. And we're looking at our hand, and we're like, oh, this is not the greatest. We activate Tenny's special abilities. Since we control no effect monsters, we can special summon him from the hand. We don't set Wabaku. We don't want to overextend. The fear there is if we would have set 3, then he would have Lightning Storm, would have been out of luck. So you see the balance. We're like, okay, so we're playing Cyberse. And I'm like, he gets the extra normal summon with the Balance Lord. So we are going to effect Valor there. So I'm like, okay, he doesn't get that normal, extra normal summon right then and there. So that's negated. He has 1700 attack. My monster's defense is 2500. So that's a big tall climb. But he had the microcoder in hand, so he gets to link from the hand, which is such a good card. So then we're looking, and then here comes the Parallel Exceed. And that's another, just a great card. Great card for all link decks. If you're running link decks and you want to spam something real quick, gotta run those. So I'm like, so he's playing the whole Playmaker type deck, which I can dig. I liked Playmaker from Yu-Gi-Oh! Variants. So, thank goodness, Firewall's gone. Currently forbidden. If I feel like that would get summoned right now, it would have been GG for me. So he's just going into his stuff. And I'm just thinking, I was like, alright, well, I got Imperm. And then I have my Trap ready to go. He summons Firewall Exceed Dragon. You don't see a lot of people playing that card. It's not the greatest. If Firewall was in the game, that having Firewall regular Dragon back would help Firewall Exceed Dragon because they'd be able to play off each other. So we're waiting here. Then we activate our trap, and a lot of people, they're sleeping on this trap card. I love this trap card. So what it does is that I get to special summon a monster from my opponent's graveyard. And we're seeing if he has anything. He's like, no. So I get to special summon it. Then I could banish a card on my field and the opponent's field that share the same type. So I just banished 2 for the price of 1. The reason that card is so good is because if you're playing like a certain like art set, like let's just say you're playing a Dark Magician deck, and they summon Rod, and they have a Dark Magician in grave, they're about to go in the whole combo. You can get their Dark Magician from their grave, bring them to your field. You don't have to banish if you don't want to, so it's an optional effect. So then you banish a Dark Magician and a Rod for that. In this example, they're both gone, and that banish effect is non-targeting. It doesn't say target one monster. It says banish, so that effect does not target, which makes it so good. Another thing, if you're running spellcasters or a person's playing a Dragoon, you might want to have that trap in handy if you can bait out the negate. Just another Dragoon tip for you there. So then I'm looking, he summons the Salaman Great Link monster, and he has like 500 attack, and his Firewall Exceed has 2500 attack. So he can't even crash because my defense is 2500. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like I've done nothing in this game, but I kind of feel like I'm in control because I stopped his transcode talker earlier with my trap. So we're waiting to see. So then he just attacks, which I didn't understand because we're both 2500. But then I was thinking, is there a Cyberse Honest that I'm missing out on that I don't know about? Because if there is, that would suck. And I'm like, no, I don't want to activate anything right then and there because the only thing I have set now is my Imperm. So I'm just going to be casually waiting for the right opportunity to do that. So we go end turn. I draw a Rod. So then we summon Magician's Rod. Activate his effect. I think we always go for Circle unless we have certain cards in our hands. Then we go for Circle. We play circle. We're waiting to see if there's anything. Because it's waiting on him. And we're like, okay, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Let's get it going. So then we're just still waiting. And we're just sitting here like, man, okay, finally, we're back in it again. It's asking if we want to activate anything. I'm like, no. Reveal Dark Magician card. We get Eternal Soul and Dark Magician. So we're like, okay. So we pick the Eternal Soul, then obviously put the Dark Magician next. And then we set Eternal Soul and we set Wabaku just in case we're potentially going to get OTK. So then I just attack the Salamangreat Link monster. He's not playing Salamangreats, so he doesn't have anything in his grave to protect his monster from being destroyed. He loses 1100 end turn. So looking at that, I have 2 monsters on field. He has 1. I have 4 back row. One's already activated circle. I have a Wabaku, I have an Imperm, and I have an Eternal Soul. I already know what's coming next with Dark Magician. So if it does get back to my turn, I'm going to draw Dark Magician, activate Eternal Soul, banish a card. Then I'm going to do the Tenyi's effect to banish himself since I have a normal monster, get rid of another card, leave him wide open for an attack. That's the plan if I get to my next turn. Because when you're playing this game, you got to think that you're going to survive unless you're dead, obviously. But you have to think, okay, if I can get to my next turn, what's the play? Because people nowadays, they don't think they're going to get to the next turn, and they don't even think about that. So when they actually do get to the next turn, they're like, oh, I didn't think I was going to make it this far. And then you have the timer going, and then you're flustered. So that's why I always try and tell people when I play, I was like, think ahead. Think that you're going to survive, and think about what you're going to do if you survive. And if you don't survive, oh well, at least you had a backup plan ready. So then he brings Balance Sword again. And I'm like, seeing you again. Then he does the Sign It. Quick Play, which banishes his card. And then he gets a special summon a Cyberse monster. But then that Balance Sword comes back next turn. And he gets to attack directly. Yeah, Sign It Backdoor. It's a very good card. He gets to add a monster from his deck to hand. He doesn't get to special summon it. So on the next standby phase, it comes back. And he would get attacked me directly. So I'm like, okay. So he's thinking he's going to make it to the next turn too. That's cool. So then balance when I have 3 effects I can activate right now. I'm sitting pretty well. So I'm not overly too concerned. There's no way he's OTKing me because I have Wabaku. So we're just going to be seeing what he's going to do here. And then we're just like, Come on. What are you doing here? But if you remember, and then he just quits, which is unfortunate because I knew on my next turn I was just going to get rid of his field with the way it was set up, and maybe he realized that too.